and welcome to the final match of the Swiss stage of the Randomizer Doubles Tournament 2023. Today we are going to see Team SincereStrawberry face off against Team Dustforce Enthusiasts, and this is a match that I'm very much looking forward to. My name is Liftoff, and I will be doing commentary today, and I'm going to be joined by my buddy Jamal. Jamal, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine on this fine Sunday, and it's a good day for Ori and a good day to get this match started off. This is going to be the final round, like you mentioned, of round 2 of our Swiss. Both of these teams have currently lost their first round, unfortunately, which means that means that neither of them are going to be facing elimination today, but winning this round can definitely be a big boost to a team's confidence to avoid kind of being on that precipice. And so both teams are going to be looking, obviously, to put in their best, get as many wins as possible, and stay alive for as long as they can going into this tournament.
Yeah, definitely. After we're going to be having 4 rounds of Swiss, and at the end of the 4th round, the top 4 teams in the tournament are going to enter a bracket of semifinal and grand final. I would say neither of these teams here are out already, but you definitely prefer to be winning this one if you want to make the bracket. So it's definitely going to be an exciting match to watch.
For sure. So as we are prepping up to get things going, we've just got the last bits going on behind the scenes before our race gets started. Looking forward to what we're going to have. So this seed that we have is going to be relatively standard. We're not going to have any flags, no fancy warps or random starts or anything like that. It's just going to be some good old-fashioned Ori randomizer. Of course, like all of these tournament seeds, obviously we're going to have the world defined, and of course all of the shards and all of the fun details that go along with that, and all of the beautiful things that make co-op seeds fun. So lots to look forward to, and lots
Definitely.
of Ori yet to come.
It's always interesting to see in the early game how teams split up, and as we can see, our runners have started their games now. Team Dustforce Enthusiasts, Mattermonkey and AvengedRuler on the right. Team SincereStrawberry, comprising of Apple and Ernest, on the left. Let's see if one of our runners gives us a relic check. I haven't seen it yet.
I don't think any of them have yet. I'm trying to tell from the trackers. A Sunstone Shard on our first pickup, though, is definitely an interesting one. Maybe hinting towards some early horror logic. Scary is definitely the right word that I would want to use for that, because unless we find a lot of other skills first, that does not bode well for what the seed could be asking our runners to do in the future. And there's our relic check as well. So Relicless, Blackroot, Ginso, and Horu. So despite that Sunstone Shard, which we will still need to get access to in order to reach the final escape, there isn't going to be any relics in Horu. At least for me, that's always a pleasant thing to see when I'm playing one of these seeds. Hopefully, we don't need to go there anyways.
Yeah, Blackroot is kind of awkward because it's one of the areas that you can access fairly early in most cases. So you really want to. So it's always nice if you can split up into Glades and Blackroot, and both of these areas actually have a relic. So we'll see if this means that maybe no one goes to Blackroot for one team. But then again, there might be progression there anyway. We'll see. The other pickup they found was an energy cell. So that gives them 2 energies. We could be seeing a Frankie Walk once we have the appropriate XP setup and wall interaction. But speaking of wall interaction, there's wall jump.
Yep. That honestly says to me that we're probably going to be forced to go to Blackroot anyways. We're just getting XP on this keystone up here. And so there really isn't many other options at this point. You're going to see a lot of our runners start to teleport, go down to Blackroot. The others are going to be going down to check this underwater pickup here, find Worth Return for their troubles, which, despite the fact that the text is red, is not actually an important pickup in any way, which means all of our runners are going to be forced down this one-way hole into Blackroot where there's not even a relic.
Yeah, but since everyone has to do it, it's not time loss or anything. Um, other runners know that everyone's here anyway. I
Yeah.
have to say I'm a big fan of Matter keeping the warmth returned anyway. I like that. That
For good
spells
measure,
cozy
you got it, just in case.
spells cozy vibes for this year, I think.
For sure. So our runners now, all in Blackroot, are going to be looking for one of a couple things to try to get access to other areas of the game. So one option is perhaps just the vanilla, get a couple keystones, head into Glades, and maybe get some checks in that area. Otherwise, we might potentially be looking for energy to go through Death Gauntlet. Maybe we could try to find some Stomp to go through Grotto. There's a couple options that could come into play here. It all depends what Seed Gen decides to give us. And what we end up finding along the way. A third energy right next to the
This
orb, though.
this might be the fabled sea that has you go through Death Gauntlet before ever going into Glades, which is
I
very
cannot
rare,
wait.
but it's always fun when that happens.
Well, there's only one way to find out as our runners making more progress. This area is just a lot of auto scrollers, a lot of waiting. Not too much pickup density, unfortunately. So there's not much that we can do except just speculate and hope that something entertaining comes up on the other side.
Yeah, definitely. Uh, all our runners are fairly in sync as well. It looks like Team SincereStrawberry has a minimal lead, but it's tiny. And there's Dash.
There Dash up high. Okay, so the seed might look to be a bit fast though. We do have a couple people actually have fallen down into this pit now. Um, I saw Avenged fall in earlier and miss one cycle, and I saw, I believe, Apple fall down there as well. I don't know if I saw her grab Dash or not, so she might need to wait for these cycles again. Which would
Yeah,
be a bit unfortunate, obviously. You want to get that dash. They know that it's there because Ernest picked it up. Luckily, though, because this is a co-op race, and everyone's still in a pretty linear section right now, I don't think this will have too much impact on things overall.
yeah, probably not. But it's always just a feels bad moment. I I think the effect it can have on your morale is like the biggest one. But I'm just going to assume that all our runners are staying positive. While we are finishing the auto scroller here, and we're going to be seeing the dash tree. There's the keystone behind the crushers that we can check in logic. Actually, kind of rare that
Oh
that
yeah.
happens. There's also in logic boulder escape.
And that's 4 energy cells as well. So we now have wall interaction, we've got dash, we've got some energy. This is screaming Death Gauntlet to me. The Valley Teleporter down in the pit. This is going to be kind of interesting what directions our runners decide to go in, because with that dash, we can potentially have some people go further down into lower Blackroot if they wanted to try to split up. Without a relic, I don't know that that's a play that our runners will want to make necessarily, but that it is an option, while some others could potentially maybe use that Valley Teleporter, maybe go through Death Gauntlet like we see Ernest doing here, or at least opening the door, probably heading back to drop a save so he doesn't die in the water.
It's I think you need an additional health cell for the path through Death Gauntlet to be in logic, at least in standard logic.
I think you're correct, yeah.
So we might be eyes on the right. We're seeing AvengedRuler to be the first to go through this boulder escape. Picks up a map stone, which she can turn in at the end of the boulder escape as well.
Yeah,
So
see both of our runners on the right side, both heading down into this Blackroot area. Uh, a lot of times, a lot of runners will try to split themselves up in these areas, so they're doing different things at different times. Right now, both of our Dustforce enthusiasts opting to stay in the same area, looking to get onto that Blackroot teleport to be able to come here later before they try to split up further down. Meanwhile, our runners also on the right, lots of people in black are turning in that first map stone, uh, getting a keystone for their troubles. That is, I believe, I can't see how many they have, but a water vein shard also. Okay, this is a pretty interesting black of back route, actually. Uh,
Yeah, we
Dash
have the
things and logic has really made things quite fascinating to watch.
yeah we have the keystones to go into glades. We have the energy to go through Death Gauntlet. We're getting some shards. We have the Valley TP. This is a very interesting start to the seed so far.
We do also have that water vein shard that we found in the was that Marvin pickup, that rock there. I'm forgetting what that's called.
Yeah, the behind the boulder, I guess I
Exactly.
always call it that.
Meanwhile, with those keystones, we now see runners starting to go into glades, kind of the initial vanilla progression area. As you can see now, people starting to split up with that keystones. We see some heading towards Death Gauntlet. Even if the isn't strictly in logic yet with our amount of health and standard logic, I think people are still going to want to try to do it. Unfortunately, that Frankie lands directly on Mattermonkey's head. He does indeed have a chair. And kind of force him to be a little bit precise here. He's only got 2 HP. And so if he had that third one, this would be a much less precise timing from him. As it is, he's really got to struggle to get that slime out of the way and get out of the water before he
Yeah,
dies.
this is hard. What can make this easier is if you set up a hyperspeed save there, but it's doable like this, but it's very tricky. Meanwhile, AvengedRuler has found the Glades relic. I think it was next to the map stone. So Apple is going to probably be finding that in very short order.
Especially without having enough keystones to make it down into the map or into Spirit Caverns. We now see Ernest trying the same thing Mattermonkey was just attempting earlier. However, because Ernest had leveled up the ability that heals you when you make a Soul Link, he has enough health to get through Death Gauntlet relatively easily and is able to move on and kind of make new progress into Grotto that we have not seen up to this point. So eyes on his screen down there as he's going to be the one kind of uncovering the most new information for us for the time being.
And Mattermonkey has decided to call it quits. It looks like he's skipping some pickups and glades, maybe beelining for that health cell that his teammate found, which puts the whole maneuver that he was doing into logic, precisely because it's so difficult on the low amount of health that our teams have. And on the left, we can see Ernest. He's heading down into Grotto, checking the 2 energy vault. Just some XP underwater. He's not going to quite make it out. Probably not go back for that.
We went opting to go down the pit instead of going back behind to check the water vein as well. Lower Grotto is a very dense area, so I don't dislike this play. But I think a lot of people also will like to go skip that bridge, check those pickups behind the water vein, and kind of see what Gumo's hiding from us back there. What secrets does
Yeah,
he have?
definitely. Well, or Ernest just made the read and found the Grotto relic immediately. Actually,
He just
not that
knows.
useful. Not that useful. Sure, you need the relic at some point, but the relic doesn't do much for you now. It only does for you something for you when you want to start the escape, and this is not a skill set you can do the escape with. So, probably Ernest would have probably preferred there to be a skill there. But I guess he'll take the relic. Skipping the Grotto mini boss makes sense. It's a slow check, and he does have the relic. So now he's heading to the right to double jump tree. This is. I usually try to avoid this if I don't have the.
I'm going to interrupt you. Apple has just found Charge Jump in Spirit Caverns, actually.
Yeah.
That's big news for the state of the race. That's going to be our second power skill and is really going to be the thing that unlocks a lot of verticality and is going to start to kind of tear this seed apart. This is looking more and more like a jet seed the more we get into it.
It's a good interruption. Definitely very jet. And I would assume Ernest is going to beeline for that once he warps out of here, because you really, if there's a charge jump on the map, you really want to have it. Yeah.
That said, it looks like Mattermonkey is still in this Glades area. He's got enough keystones. If he's climbing out here, I'm anticipating that he's going to be checking Spirit Caverns soon as well. So Team Dustforce Enthusiasts will not be far behind, it looks like, when it comes to that skill progression. And that will put our teams on relative information parity. I believe they all know or are about to know where the same skills and relics are.
Apple's doing an interesting check here. Glazer, it's perfectly in logic for energy. Just a keystone. But
I wonder if she is trying to get keystones to go further up to like the Grove teleporter. She only has 3 right now.
Makes sense, yeah.
Maybe not wanting to do the key dupe, or maybe just hoping to clear out this area thoroughly before they move on.
I mean, all these pickups are in logic now that you have C-jump, so it does make sense. That could very much be a skill there. Yeah, Ernest tracking back into Glades. He's going to be picking up a keystone to enter Spirit Caverns, and then he's going to be getting his charge jump as well. Meanwhile, on the right, we're seeing AvengedRuler doing the Grotto mini-boss that Ernest skipped. If there's something behind here, then that's going to be a massive advantage for Team Dustforce Enthusiasts, but it's just a keystone.
Real shame when you spend that long doing that mini-boss check with only Spirit Flame, only to find a keystone, which unfortunately is not going to be super relevant immediately. It looks like they've got more than enough keystones for the time being, but regardless, I think still a solid check, because if there is something there, that's something that the other team might be likely to skip.
We've also been finding some more shards. There's another Sunstone shard. Not useful for the relic hunt, but we do still need it anyway, because that's where the game ends. Also, we've seen, I think, 3 water vein shards at this point, which would allow access to Ginso. I don't think anybody's going to go there that quickly, because there's no relic there again. But
that just means there's going to be Bash and Ginso, right? That's how it works.
Bash and Glide and double jump, I assume.
That's the way it always works. There's no relic in a dungeon, and so that just means that you're going to get every skill up there. Especially with, the skill set that we have right now. Just because you don't have to go there for that relic doesn't mean that it's not going to be in logic. We're finding a lot of shards very early, and that is making me fairly concerned. So,
definitely. And the shards that we need the most, the Gumon Seal shards, they have also proven quite elusive.
Nowhere to be seen.
We've seen a single one so far, but there's still a lot of game left to play. Let's not conjure up problems before they arise. Just some backtracking. Mattermonkey dropping down on the right. Meanwhile, AvengedRuler is going to be the first into this Grove main area. And I just noticed that Team Dustforce Enthusiasts have Stomp. I completely missed them picking that up.
I don't recall where it was either, though. Team SincereStrawberry does not have it. So looks like that if that becomes relevant is going to be something that might be tricky for them to find. I'm being told it was on the wall jump tree, which at this point seems like an area they're unlikely to go back to unless they might have scummed it and might remember it's there. Luckily, without that horror relic, the chances that we're going to require Stomp for the seed are relatively low, but Forlorn relics can be Stomp locked, and so this might become a more important factor in the future. With that said, both teams are now treading new ground, so we have, like you mentioned earlier, AvengedRuler checking into Grove, finding our first Gumon Seal shard as well, so that will be an important find for him. And meanwhile, we have Team SincereStrawberry checking kind of the lower left Grotto Vault area, as well as making a play for the outer Swamp Loop, trying to find some more relics and some more information. Yeah.
There's another Gumon Seal shard. Meanwhile, Ernest is checking the Grotto Vault. Nothing huge down there. An energy cell, which is nice because we're going to be ending up on Charge Dash, and Charge Dash does cost energy. But yeah, not huge. Apple finding the team's first Gumonsil shard. If the team had Stomp here, you could take this into Inner Swamp. Would be a perfectly logical skill set to do that with. As it stands, Apple's just going to go around the top and pick up the Swamp TP before moving on into Grove Main, presumably. While Ernest is continuing to clear out Grotto. Meanwhile, Avenged is doubling up on the Swamp Loop play that we just saw from Apple. But he actually has the skills to go into Inner Swamp, so it's going to be interesting if we're going to be seeing that out of him.
Yeah, that's a big play to make without having clean water. If you're making that dive for that swamp relic, it can be kind of buried if you're not prepared for it, and our runners do not have the health right now to make that swim with any degree of comfort. With that said, if you get lucky and it is accessible, finding that relic early and not having to worry about it can be a very significant burden off your mind.
Definitely. I think it's looking like Ernest is going to be very thorough and checking far left here. This is another pickup that takes a long time to get to and is therefore often orphaned. But not today. Ernest is saying, "Ooh, no, he was almost there." And yeah, we're going.
Luckily.
Yeah, and we're seeing AvengedRuler take that charge jump stomp into Inner Swamp. He can check a few pickups here. There's like 3 in the stomp area. There's this one here. So if the relic or skill is here, then that's definitely a huge advantage, especially since Team SincereStrawberry still doesn't have stomp. But if the relic turns out to be gated by a lot of health or clean water anyway, then I'm sure then it hasn't been worth all that much. There's a Grotto TP, not very useful, and it looks like Ernest is coming back for that Grotto mini boss, going to find that keystone. Not exactly what he's looking for.
That is Bash? Okay, well, that swamp play I was talking about earlier has paid off big for Team Dustforce Enthusiasts. Finding Bash right next to the Stomp Tree, that gives them all of the power skills less than 20 minutes into the seed, and their third Gumonsil shard. Okay.
And grenade. Did you see that?
And grenade too? Oh my gosh. Okay, this is a jet seed if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, super jet.
So at this point, the question just becomes really one of relics and finding that information. We have the skills that we need. It's a question of, at this point, you know, what level of comfort do our runners have with those, and how efficiently can they search the map? And then at this point, also, we have to start wondering, when and if does SincereStrawberry make that swamp play? How long does it take them to find that Bash pickup?
The thing is, they can't really make the swamp play without stomp. Without stomp or grenade, they have to find one or the other to get into swamp. And grenade was a double jump tree, which Ernest did without charge jump and had to orphan a pickup there. So that's unfortunate. And stomp also looks fairly orphaned at the very bottom of Glades. So this is definitely, so I would definitely put Team Dustforce Enthusiasts at the advantage here. That they've just been kind of unlucky. Team SincereStrawberry haven't been playing badly by any shot. Just the order in which they did things meant they've orphaned pickups. Never mind, Ernest found grenade. So if he is heading into swamp here, then they could very well still be in this race.
For sure. It's kind of unfortunate just when you think about how big of an impact just that wall jump tree, that stomp check can make. Because if that's going to be what it is, even having stomp would have allowed them to find that grenade pickup if they know that stomp bounce to find that pickup above the double jump tree. But as it stands, a lot of that information right now was missing. Like you said, he does have that grenade check now, so they know it's there. But I don't know if they remember or are aware of that stomp location.
I think they just skipped wall jump tree. It kind of makes sense. You don't need it. It's not like we're playing force trees, but yeah, there can still be skills there.
Yeah. For sure. Regardless, I believe that was also a Grove relic that Apple just found on the Sea Flame tree as well. It's an area that don't think, or I guess depending on what order you can check Grove in, might become something that gets a little bit forgotten by Team Dustforce Enthusiasts. Grove is a very big area that spans like a massive portion of the map you can approach from many different directions, and so the order that you decide to approach things in can make things a little bit tricky, and especially since they've already done Spirit Caverns, they might not be particularly interested in approaching from that direction again. So we'll see what order they decide to tackle that area in. But regardless, that's not a pickup that's necessarily hard to get to. So once they eventually decide to make that check, it'll be a quick relic find for them.
That, especially if you're heading into the left side of the map anyway. Oh, never mind. We do have Valley Teleporter. I forgot about that.
Oh yeah, we found that very early, actually. I almost forgot about it as well.
Yeah. Meanwhile, on the right, we're also seeing that AvengedRuler has completed his Goomon Seal, but Mattermonkey is still on 1 out of 3. So I hope Team Dustforce Enthusiasts remember the 2R that Mattermonkey hasn't picked up, because both members of the team are going to need a complete Goomon Seal at some point. And meanwhile, it looks like Apple is heading over to pick up that grenade that Ernest found at the double jump tree. But it doesn't look like Ernest is heading into Swamp. This might be the Ginso play. Could, of course, pay off, but it's going to be hard.
Their team doesn't have a water vein right now, though. I believe they only have 2 out of 3.
Yeah, makes sense.
Meanwhile, we have 4 out of 3 on the other side, so while they could always choose to go to Ginso, I suspect they have enough other things that they would rather do, that they will choose not to do that, as we see right now Mattermonkey making his way through Valley Entrance, checking some of these pickups, either not remembering or not caring that they already have the Valley Teleporter, one to kind of get these checks here out of the way instead. I believe...
It does make some sense, since there is a Valley relic to be found still, and this is part of Valley, so you might as well go through here. But
that's a costly death, though.
Yeah, that's a costly death. At this point, it's definitely better. So there's Wind Restored.
Oh, that's always fun. Wind Restored in the dentist's office, not the place you expect to find it. AvengedRuler, though, making the Ginso play. I'm entertained, regardless of what comes of this. There is no Ginso relic, but I love the play.
Not much that could be here. I mean, there could be climb here, which would get...
imagine that.
Which would mean grenade jumps. But we have all the power skills already, so there can't be any here. Yeah, just going to see what comes out of this.
On the other side, meanwhile, it looks like we've got Ernest making some cleanup in Grove area. They do not have they know where the relic is, however, he's just looking for more pickups here, checking some of that stuff that they could find, or that they can find now that they have grenades that they wouldn't have been able to before, and hopefully trying to make some progress here.
Thing that we've also seen is we've seen a fair amount of the non-underwater swamp pickups, so it is looking likely that clean water or a lot of health or ultra defense is going to be required to find that swamp relic, which is still proving elusive.
Right. Meanwhile, on the right side, we've got both players on Dustforce Enthusiasts making new checks that none of us have seen before. Avenge continuing to climb up the Ginso tree. Mattermonkey checking up this valley climb area, stomping on the bird to break into that wall there, and is going to be continuing to do this climb up. Presumably, they have Stomp. They could actually just knock Kuro off the old-fashioned way if they don't feel like doing Stompless. However, at this point, there's a lot of options available to them. The left side of the map is about to open up. It looks like, however, they do not have Glide or Wind. Neither team has Glide, although at least some people have found Wind on the left side here. That can make some of these things easier, like getting into Sorrow, and obviously not having Glide in Sorrow itself is potentially problematic. We'll see what direction our runners decide to go from this point, though, and kind of what areas they want to try to make progress in next.
Yeah. Ernest converging on that Grove Relic while we see Mattermonkey doing fast stompless. This is a very, very precise trick where you shoot a spider shot to the left and then run to the right to unload a rock that's between the spider shot and its intended location, the rock of the rocks above Kuro's head. That shot looked good.
That looked
Now
like a good one, yeah.
Yeah, he just has to get to the right quick enough. He did. I think he already checked the pickup above. So, and there we go. Nicely done.
Yeah, Ruler, meanwhile, has abandoned that Ginso play. Looks like he got stuck without enough keystones to continue making progress and didn't want to do that dupe, which is pretty fair. That first dupe on the Ginso door, it's a pretty rough one to do.
Oh no! Oh no! Apple returned to the wall jump area and forgot that she hadn't picked up the tree yet.
Oh no!
She just picked up the XP that you usually have to orphan. But it does look like Ernest is going to be heading into Swamp, so at least they will be finding Bash. But yeah, let's just pray for Team Sincere's. Yeah, just pray for Team SincereStrawberry that you don't need Stomp, because at this point it looks very unlikely they'll be heading back there a third time.
With that said, with those checks that Ernest is making there, I believe that is all of the above water checks for a Swamp Relic.
Ooh, spicy. So it looks like it's going to be confirmed underwater.
So maybe clean water will be in Ginso. I guess we'll find out.
Vanilla clean water, anyone?
Oh, I would love that, actually. Just put it right on. Yes. Meanwhile, with Ernest making his way up to that... Ooh, that's a rocket jump straight into spikes for Ernest, unfortunately. He's got to save right there, so it won't be much of time loss. But he will continue making his way, presumably, to check these pickups and find his Bash, as we have Mattermonkey on the right, heading into Misty, finding the Relic relatively early after only 2 pickups, and immediately deciding to bail, not wanting to go further into the area. I respect that play, yep.
As good as the skill set that our teams have is, it is a skill set without any form of air stall. No double jump, no glide. So, and that makes areas like Misty fairly painful. Are you serious? Ernest didn't pick up bad.
Ernest, no.
What is going on? How unlucky can... No.
He threw the grenade. He opened up the door.
And then he left. Why?
Oh, maybe he just realized he didn't have clean water. Maybe he forgot he didn't check that pickup. I see Apple starting to retrace his steps. I wonder if she is... I'm wondering what she's looking for here.
Let's hope.
Yeah, it's not too late.
Don't do this to me, Team SincereStrawberry. Don't do this to me. No, and then Ernest is going to say that...
Oh my gosh.
That
they don't have a way to open that floor.
Oh,
they don't have stomp. They don't have climb. Unless they want to try to do that grenade redirect, they can't open that floor.
I mean, there's a C-dash redirect, which is much easier than the
that's a good point, yes.
But yeah, still, it's not... oh, God. Oh, God.
Oh, this is
so
taking a turn for the worse. I feel for them if this is what ends up making the difference.
Oh God, yeah, this definitely feels so bad. And
as it is, on the right. Oh, sorry, you can go.
Yeah. And another thing that just compounds how bad this is, I think, is on the logic map, the skill trees always show up even if you have already collected them. So if you look at it, you're not going to see that you haven't collected it yet, because it always shows up, even if you have already collected it. Oh God, this is just such a bad.
Dustforce is absolutely making use of that Bash pickup. We've got Mattermonkey, who did his Sorrow Bash very cleanly to get into Sorrow, is making the checks he can without glide. We have AvengedRuler finding the Value Relic on the entrance to Forlorn. This is, them opening up the seed. He finds a Horu teleporter as well. That is actually Horu access now. We have 2 shards and the teleporter. Meanwhile, on the other side, Ernest has actually managed to find the Forlorn teleporter with that grenade pickup right next to the Glades teleporter, and is going to be checking through here. He finds the relic at this point. We'll see how much longer he decides to stay.
Okay, this is still if the location of the Sorrow relic isn't too bad, then I guess this could still be fine. Sorrow TP, which Ernest can access here after having found the Forlorn Teleporter, gives them an easier way into Sorrow without Sorrow Bash. The Forlorn relic is not stomp locked, and the Valley relic is right outside Forlorn. That's not too bad, actually. That's honestly about as good as it could still be for Team SincereStrawberry at this point.
It depends where that Sorrow relic is, exactly like you said, though. If it's up close to like the tree or that area right near the teleporter, then access to the Sorrow teleporter is going to be big for Team SincereStrawberry and potentially for both teams when they eventually, or if they eventually check that teleporter location. That said, if the relic is somewhere else, maybe somewhere else like Dorito Caves or something like that, where you'd really only be able to easily get to it with Bash, this could still be bad. This is far from over.
Not out of the woods yet. There's another Sunstone Shard, and it looks like Ernest will be continuing to the entrance, so there he's going to be finding that Horror Teleporter, which is nice, that Sorrow Teleporter, which is crucial, and that Valley Relic. Definitely a loaded Forlorn entry area, if I've ever seen one.
For sure. I believe, meanwhile, this is, Gladezer I see Apple going, or Grenadezer, rather, I see Apple going for, only getting XP for her troubles. Very nice out-of-the-way check, though. The fact that they're making those checks, though, makes me wonder if Team SincereStrawberry is running out of ideas, and if they're trying to find where else they could look next to find that progression.
There's the Sorrow Relic. That's honestly not awful without Bash, but it's not great.
I mean, you've got Charge Dash that you can use to get through. You have the key door even there potentially. You can't break the floor, so I guess it's doable for sure. But that's a pretty rough spot, all things considered.
It could be worse, but but not much. Yeah, Ernest clearing out and Ernest going for the Horu play. This is interesting. If there's climb here for grenade jumps, that could be a way back into the seed. And we did have fairly early access to this area. Let's see.
That's a pretty big XP number, though, unfortunately.
Yeah, that looks like pretty latent logic.
Yeah. So there are a couple other easy checks he can make here in the entrance of Horu, although without having Bash or Stomp, traversing Horu is practically impossible. And so I think he's going to have a struggle here unless we can find anything clever. So far, just a mapstone for his troubles.
Yeah. It's not great, the skill set for Horu. I mean, you do have charge jump, so it could be worse, but yeah. Let's see if Ernest continues after the 4 very fast checks. Doesn't look like it. Looks like he's heading into Sorrow. Let's see how he does here, and if he manages to track down that relic without too much trouble. He doesn't have Stomp. This is just not great.
On the right side, meanwhile, it looks like we've got Dustforce Enthusiasts doing a lot of cleanup here. AvengedRuler picking up his Misty Relic, and it looks like he's going to be trying to go further in as well, seeing what else he can find later on in this area. It is a relatively dense area, even if a bit linear, so if he does find something here, it is relatively good for checks and progression. Obviously, he knows he found that relic. He just picked it up a minute ago. And so we'll see kind of what else he's digging for and what he could be hoping to find. They might be digging for clean water or more health at this point.
Yeah, probably clean water. Any combination of clean water, health cells, and or ability cells for ultra defense. Since I think the swamp relic is the big thing still gaining their ability to finish out the seed.
Not to mention, just doing the final escape with 6 health and no clean water is not trivial, even with this skill set.
That's true. Apple finding Glide.
Ooh, that's
Hold
pretty
up.
handy. That'll be a very good find. Can speed up. They have wind as well, so that will speed up Sorrow access and searching, depending on which direction they decide to go once they get up there.
Yeah, that actually allows them to go into. That allows them actually to go into Sorrow from the bottom, because they don't have Stomp to break the floors easily from the top. So
Oh,
that might actually be a huge thing.
I thought for a second when Apple went to Forlorn that she was considering doing the escape. It looks like she is making some checks further down here, probably trying to go out to the entrance to get some of. I believe that was where the relic and the Horu teleporter were, so she's probably making a beeline for those pickups.
I think the relic was above the teleporter, so she skipped that already.
If I'm reading the trackers correctly, she might have already picked up the relic. I think she's
Oh,
looking for the Valley
oh
relic
yeah,
that was
yeah,
out
yeah,
here, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
She got it already.
Okay. Meanwhile, AvengedRuler on the right making his play into Sorrow with that Sorrow Bash. Knowing where the relic is will make this pretty speedy for him. Unfortunately, bashing that far away to get a rocket jump off of it. A little bit tricky here, but I think he'll be able to get it, and having that knowledge of where the relic is will make this a much more straightforward.
Meanwhile, we're seeing Ernest doing the Ginso play. I think we've seen up to the first key door from Mattermonkey.
I
Or
believe
was
that's
it
where he
Avenged?
left as well. I think it was, I don't remember which one of them was, but I believe it was up to that first key door, you're correct. So, depending on how far he decides to go, he's got enough keystones for sure, could theoretically decide to go further up. You know, with Charge Jump can pretty easily get all the way up to that banana stand area, and if you're a bit clever and willing to take some damage, can get even further. But we'll see at this point kind of how far they want to push things.
Yeah,
Looks
climb would be huge. That would
climb
give
would be
them
incredible, yeah.
that would give them access to Sorrow from the top. Apple key duping here, and it looks like she's actually going into the escape. Oh, that's going to feel so bad seeing the stomping blades and realizing they never collected wall jump tree. Oh man.
Hey, if nothing else, though, you know, Forlorn Escape music, you can't complain.
Forlorn escape music, you can't complain. It's very true.
Looks like Ruler deciding here to go to his Sorrow Relic through that key door in the top. Because he has Stomp, he can just break that floor right there. Was either having trouble or maybe running out of energy to do some charge dashes through that lower route, and instead just decides to go the easy way, take the way that maybe you're intended to get there from the vanilla game.
Ginso not holding what Ernest is looking for.
Nope,
Yeah, and he's
lots
leaving
of
again.
garbage. We do find a water vein shard on the Forlord escape, though, so you'll love to see
that's
that.
great.
Which means that access to Forlord is actually logically required to get to Ginso, which makes it even less likely, honestly, that there's going to be anything of note that could have been in Ginso.
Yeah, probably. Probably right.
Which is a real shame, because I love to see that play of just going for the dungeon, even though you know there's no key there. Or no relic, rather.
I think this is going to be the Sorrow play from Ernest. He's going to be picking up that glide that Apple found here in the 4 energy vault underwater in Death Gauntlet. Meanwhile, I just saw a relic check from on the right, and Dustforce Enthusiasts are still missing that Grove relic, which is not far off now because AvengedRuler looks like he's heading to the Charge Flame area where he's going to be picking up that relic. And then there's still the Swamp relic, of course. 6 health and Ultra Defense would be enough, but Ultra Defense needs a lot of ability cells. Otherwise, Clean Water, or like double the amount of health, basically.
Yeah, for sure. So we've gotten now the Stomp hint. We see Stompin' Glades. We see Apple teleporting back and checking the map, wondering what it could be at this point. The tree stays on the map, I believe, after you check it, does it not?
It does. Yes, it does.
And so I hope that she's able to piece together what has happened here. She knows that it's in Glades. There's only so many places it can possibly be, but she's teleporting out doesn't seem to process it or doesn't maybe know what to do with it. It looks like
God.
Team Sincere Strawberry is gonna continue to go without Stomp though.
So bad. I don't think I've ever seen a team get unluckier. Well, I mean, I guess it is a mistake, but like, holy hell, that's like a lot of reverberations from one single mistake.
I know that I saw them going down into that area. They got the other pickups in the area. They must have just forgotten that neither of them had picked up the tree. And so I think at this point it looks like Apple is going to try to force as many other checks in Swamp as she can. She knows that there's a relic there. Seems like she knows that there's some stuff that is yet to be found. So the question is, how hard is she going to try to force everything else? She's just found a Mega Health and could potentially try to use that to swim before she goes up.
This is the Glade's long swim. I think this is the only pickup, aside from the tree, that they haven't checked.
Yeah.
And Apple's going to be very confused.
Just a keystone.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, on the right side now, we've got what looks like some more relic hunting in Swamp on the top and AvengedRuler on the bottom. In Horror now, having both Bash and Stomp is going to let them check every pickup in Horror if they so desire. There's no relic here, but we seem to be climbing up to some degree, so something is going to happen in Horror. The question is, what are we going to find?
This isn't at this point, it's not a bad candidate for looking for clean water.
Honestly, that's probably correct. That's probably exactly what they're thinking. This is a very health stars seed. Looking around, other than that mega health that Apple had just picked up, no one has more than 6 HP, which for this point in a seed is pretty impressive, actually.
Ernest is going to be finding that relic. It's not too bad to access from here. He can just glide over to the left and then break the ceiling with the charge jump. Meanwhile, Mattermonkey looks like he's trying to do the swim, but yeah, that's just not enough health. He does have
he's got a lot. I think he can buy it.
Yeah, he can get it.
He's got exactly enough.
Perfectly get ultra defense.
So the question is, does he? I think he knows that the relic has to be there now.
At this point, you do, I think.
Yeah. And so, opting to buy into it and make his best to attempt to do the swim. I don't know that he's going to have enough HP to get all the way to the mapstone at the back, though. He didn't do the save drop down to the bottom of the water, so he's going to try it instead. Double bash off this fish to get as far with his HP as
Look on the top left. Look on the top left.
Oh, he's doing it! He's found Stomp! Or not, Apple has found Stomp at long last. We'll see at this point now what the team decides to do with it. Just because they have it, Bash is still a very out-of-the-way check, and so unless they go there first to try to clean up the Swamp Relic, this could still be a very unlikely find for them.
I mean, since they haven't found the Swamp Relic yet, I do assume they're going to be finding that eventually. The question is just, is it too late? They've actually played... They're actually might still be in this, just because Dustforce Enthusiasts have been struggling getting to that Swamp Relic as well.
Yeah,
but I think Mattermonkey
Swamp Relic is the last one they need, though.
It looks like it is the mapstone.
Oh yeah, it is the mapstone, but it looks like now that he's managed to get to dry land, he can drop that save, find the relic. That is, I believe, all 8 known for Team Dustforce Enthusiasts. At this point, it's just a matter of the other people on the team collecting the relics they haven't picked up yet, and finishing that final escape. Meanwhile, SincereStrawberry finding that Sorrow relic, still doesn't know where Swamp is, and it looks like there's one more missing from them also that I can't tell which one it is.
Let me see. Misty. I don't think they've...
Okay, yeah.
They haven't been to Misty. That's a quick one.
Yeah, it's on the second pickup. That should be a quick one. So really the question is that Stomp pickup for them at this point, or rather that Swamp relic for them at this point.
Yeah, it looks like Ernest is going to be picking up that Stomp. I hope he beelines to Swamp to see if that Stomp Block pickup they have left there is going to be the relic. We will see that it isn't. We know that it isn't, of course, but it will be Bash, which is going to
You
be
almost
huge.
prefer to see that.
Yeah. Matter, meanwhile, has finished out his relic collection. He's on 8 out of 8, and he's currently door warping.
I believe AvengedRuler at this point is looking for health. He's got to be looking for health or Ultra Defense at this point. He knows where that last relic is. He knows it's the most annoying spot to get to. He either only has 5 or 6 HP and might not have enough ability points to get to Ultra Defense, though.
Yeah, I think maybe he's skilled into the purple tree. I don't know. I didn't follow that.
He finds climb, though.
That's grenade jumps.
Might be too late to have any impact, unfortunately, but that is always a great thing to have.
It's never too late for the final G jump in the escape.
That is true. That is true. Speaking of which, we have Mattermonkey in the top right, entering the final escape. At this point, he doesn't have climb, but he's got bash, he's got charge jump and dash. I don't think he'll have too much trouble with this escape. The only tricky part here will be getting through with enough health to not die in the dirty water room. He's got to take a damage boost here. I guess coming from that angle, as it is, that's not going to be enough. Unfortunately, taking 2 damage boosts there is going to mean he's going to have to restart this escape. I believe you have to enter that water room with at least the ability to take 5 hits of damage, preferably 6 to get through. So this is going to be a pretty tight escape for him if he can't get through this elemental room without taking a damage boost.
I also don't think that, yeah.
There we go.
E-Flame would make this easier, but I think Dustforce Enthusiasts never found that. Yeah. We're seeing Ernest and Swamp, and he's and he's going to be finding that bash at long last.
I'm heading directly for it. He knows that he had to skip that pickup, anticipating that might be the relic, or at least wanting to make that check. He does also, it looks like, have a mega health.
He's on. He is on a mega health. I don't know if that's enough to get him through the swim. It might be. It's not if he takes
more damage, it's going to be rough. Meanwhile, we have Mattermonkey continuing his final escape. He's got more HP this time.
That looks good, yeah.
Yep, I believe he's going to take the fish up here. Not having
even seeing some first strats.
Yup. Not having the jump means this is going to be his best option.
Ernest is going to do some zombie swimming. Apparently.
He knows the relic's got to be down there somewhere.
He actually has ultra defense, so he can get this.
Yeah.
And that's... Let's see Apple's relic count. She's on 7, I think.
It's Misty and Swamp are the ones that she's missing as well.
Yeah. Yep. I think she's going to be heading out here. Out of Sorrow through the bottom and then go directly into Misty and find the relic in short order because it was I think the second.
It's the second pickup, yeah. So yeah, I anticipate the same, and at that point, it will just be a matter of getting to that swamp relic. Ernest has made it down to the end of this swim. He'll be able to get enough health here and find that relic. And so will not be long until SincereStrawberry knows where this last relic is. It's going to be a real tricky one. I don't know what Apple's ability tree looks like right now.
I don't either. Yeah. I don't either.
But Avenged, meanwhile, beelining for this relic. He knows where it is. It is only a matter of time at this point.
Yeah, I think Team SincereStrawberry played this quite well, and they came back from some very unfortunate circumstances quite well.
It really
Ernest
was just
is,
that stomp, yeah.
yeah, it looks like Ernest is going to be going into the final escape at basically the same time as Avenged is going to. Yeah, but it is looking like a victory for Team Dustforce Enthusiasts, since Mattermonkey has already finished out, and it seems unlikely that AvengedRuler is going to get infinited here on Door Warp here.
You never know. Door Warp can be a tricky beast. At what point do
Yeah,
you
yeah,
just decide to go for violence? Give the people what they want.
yeah. We'll see.
Yes, it's happening.
So yeah, Ernest is going to be finishing ahead of AvengedRuler, probably, unless he has some deaths in store here in the final escape. But he does have Glide that Team Dustforce Enthusiasts doesn't. That's nice. They also have Charge Flame, which makes getting into the elemental room a lot easier. So this is a pretty comfy escape. That should still be enough. He has Ultra Defense. But it's rough.
Meanwhile, I think Apple, recognizing now that she needs HP, she needs something, and is digging further in Misty just to hack high density and hope to find something. Either you get enough ability points to level up, or you find the health that you need to just tank through it.
Yeah. Where were all the help cells in the scene, man? So sorry.
Little did we know that health would be the thing that got hidden away this seed. There's always something that the randomizer gets you with.
Meanwhile, it looks like Apple is actually going into Swamp, considering this enough health. Or maybe she's just digging here.
I think there's always the question of just how many pickups are in the area as well. It looks like a lot of what she's running through is stuff she has already checked, so she might be deciding to just go for it. Maybe she has enough levels to level up on the way.
Yeah. The question is, do you collect Bash here, or do you?
I think you have to.
It's not going to make a difference either way. AvengedRuler has made it through the escape, and unless this fish trolls him here.
Oh
okay.
My gosh!
Makes it through
That
by
was
the skin of his
incredible.
teeth. GG. That's going to be a victory for Team Dustforce Enthusiasts, but it's a fair bit closer than it initially seemed.
Yeah, I will say that SincereStrawberry did a very good job of playing at the skill deficit. For how long Bash was in play without them realizing it, this is an incredibly close race, and I really am glad to see how well they were able to work with the skills that they had. I think at the end of the day, Bash is just too strong.
Yeah. It definitely is the most powerful skill in the game. Looks like Apple is trying to turn in this map stone.
Rhino not being pleased with her attempts to do so, however.
There is a mega health underwater here, but I think she might have collected that earlier.
She might have used it already. I think one of them did. And she's just a few XP off another level, it looks like. I wonder if that's what she's trying to
I think
get herself to.
Would be my guess, yeah. This is such an unfortunate end to.
This is such
a fairly well played scene.
Such a gross place for this relic too. Like, this is the worst place it could have possibly been for this seed. The fact that we never got water, we never got enough health. This is rough. This is seed gen at its meanest.
Yeah, definitely.
Meanwhile, it looks like we do have Team Dustforce Enthusiasts on deck for an interview if they would like to join us. So I think while Apple is finishing up looking for that health that she needs, if we want to pull them in and see what they thought about the race.
Yeah, sure. Hello, Team Dustforce Enthusiasts, and GG on your victory.
Hello.
My heart
Hello.
cannot handle the end of that escape.
Yeah, that was
All right.
so close, dude.
So what are you guys thinking right now about this seed?
I'm thinking I had no idea you could get that pickup with 6 health,
Yeah,
and would not have believed it if it wasn't for Matter telling me.
that was quite surprising, to be honest.
I was not expecting it to be possible either. I was watching this play out and I was like genuinely wondering how much digging you guys would need to do. Just the sheer audacity to not give you guys any health and then put the relic back there is a whole nother level from Seed Gen.
Yeah, as I said, I would not have believed that was possible with 6 health if Matter hadn't told me. That was very
I mean-
interesting.
When I started trying to get the Swamp Swim pickups, I wasn't really expecting it to work, but here we are.
So, how long did it take you guys to recognize that that swamp relic was going to be back there? Was there a certain point where you were, I guess hoping maybe it wouldn't be and just being forced to give up? Or how, what's going through your minds as you clear out more and more of those pickups and look down and see 5-6 HP on your health bar?
Yeah, so kinda our perspective on it was we kinda just have to check everything else in Swamp, because if it's not everything else in Swamp, we're kinda just screwed. So it really wasn't until we both had 7 relics, we checked every other pickup in Swamp, because we had a list of them. I think it was above Swamp TP, the grenade locked pickup in Swamp, and the energy cell above Swamp Swim were the last 3 pickups we were missing to verify that it was in fact in the swim. But we didn't check those until pretty much both of us had 7 relics, and then I was just kind of off searching for anything that might be helpful and the ability cells I needed.
Yeah, it was definitely a starved seed in terms of resources, even though we definitely got some very powerful skills fairly quickly. What were your thoughts on the early skill progression? It looked like there was a lot going on in the early game. Do you remember what your considerations were for that?
Well, early progression, it gave us 4 energy cells, which made it feel like going to Death Gauntlet would be a good idea. But I tried for a bit and died a lot, which was not ideal. We came back later and it was fine.
I found the early progression really funny because it ended up with me and Matter switching positions on what we were doing about 4 times in the span of 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It'd just be like, I'd go start something and then Matter would be like, no, I found charge jump. And then I'd go get charge jump, and then he'd go to what I was doing, and then he'd be like, no, I found bash. Or I found dash. And then I'd go do stomp tree, and I'm like, no, I found bash.
For sure. On that note, I guess, what, are your thoughts on a seed like this overall that gives you a lot of powerful movement abilities and just a lot of things to search? Because I think once you got some of that charge jump, some of that dash, and eventually when you found bash as well, that opens up practically the whole map. So how do you go about deciding what it is you actually want to check next?
Well, once
you can go first.
Once we had Stomp and Bash, I think we decided basically very soon to just go left side, because there's 4 relics over there. There's a lot of other miscellaneous pickups.
And kind of what we were thinking is like, even if you don't have everything to full clear an area, just, like, go there, see if you can get the relic early. Because I know that was our thought with Sorrow, because Sorrow would have been the other complication on our skill set. And I basically said at the time, it's like, just go to Sorrow, get what you can get. If it's not there, we can figure something out later.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense. And that worked out for... That attitude worked out for pretty much all the relics except Swamp, which really made you work for it. But you got there in the end. So GG's once again on the win. Yeah, I don't really have any further questions. Do you have anything to ask Jamal?
I'm trying to remember which team was doing this. I think I was curious at a certain point for some of those plays for an area like Ginso or Horu that we knew, didn't have a relic in there. I know there was actually, I think, a lot of time spent by both teams going into Ginso and making some Horu checks. So kind of like curious at this point, what it was you were looking for and what sorts of things you were hoping to find there.
So obviously speaking to the end, I was looking for abilities, but early game, I guess, I was probably just looking for, like, anything I could find at the time. Because there was still a lot of things we couldn't check. The main one that comes to mind is, like, Sorrow or anything clean water locked, which, asterisk on the clean water lock part, but... there's just, like, a lot of little things that we wouldn't have had the ability to get easily, and it just ended up not mattering too much by the end of it.
Yeah, for sure. I think that makes sense. I think with that, that's about the questions I had for you guys as well. I think this is very well done by you guys. This is a very tricky seed, obviously, with just the state of that Swamp Relic. And so very well done to play as well as you did and get the win moving on to the next round of the tournament. So congratulations and GG.
Yeah. GG's once again. Meanwhile, we're going to be watching Apple finish out the seed. She knows that she just needs a bit more ability cells. She did spec a bit into the other trees, which is coming to haunt her a little here. She's key duping. I'm not quite sure what for. But yeah, I think that's 8 ability cells and she needs 10. So that's... Okay. So she's almost there, and then she can get Ultra Defense and finish out. So yeah, do stick around for that. After that, we're going to see if Team SincereStrawberry feels up for an interview. Up to them, always up to the runners. And after that, we since this is the last match of the first round. After this match has concluded, we will be revealing the pairings for the third round of the Swiss. So that's definitely something exciting to close the stream out on.
I think what Apple may have been thinking here, being in this Ginso area, is may have been planning on going down from here with those keystones that she's found. As it is, she's gotten the levels that she needs soon, so she might just be doing one quick search here to see if clean water happens to be in Banana Stand, maybe, but I anticipate soon otherwise. Once she finds it's not there, that she will be heading back to Swamp, picking up Ultra Defense, and using that to try and get that last relic before she can finish up. Finding all 5 Sunstone shards for her troubles, though. So
okay, well, that's a nice mega health.
That is very convenient, actually.
Yeah, that definitely makes the swim comfy.
So the question becomes then just the tricky part of holding on to it as you make it on your way back. Hopefully with Bash, looks like we are through most of the dangerous areas already. Couple spikes left to go, but with Glide it shouldn't be too bad. We'll be getting Ultra Defense soon, and are on our way back to the relic now, so we can start up that swim.
Yeah, and it's just one final swim left here. Actually, Apple not going for Ultra Defense after all. I mean,
you might have enough to just make it.
With the Mega Health, yeah.
Okay, we're by it down here. That works as well. Yep, this will be enough health I
Yeah.
don't even know that she needs to get to full, but I
Probably
think this is
not, but-
I think this is
but you
totally
might as well.
valid, though. Just make sure you're not gonna run out. This is gonna be more than enough now, especially with these little things to bash off of down here. I think you won't have a struggle making it through. Drop a save here just in case, and the Crushers hopefully will not be too mean to us today, as Apple finally makes it to the 8th and final relic, has the Haru teleporter, and can make her way to the final escape now.
Looking to close out the seed. Man, SincereStrawberry really played this seed well after missing Stomp so early. They found Stomp 45 minutes in, so it's just goes to show how skilled of a players they are, that they were able to keep up with a team that had Stomp, that had Bash, and that it just came down to such a tight race in the end, even though they were playing at such a disadvantage.
Yeah, it really is a shame, though. I think this is probably the single, biggest chain of events that I have seen spiral out just from missing that single Stomp pickup. Especially in standard logic, Stomp is not usually the sorts of things that you anticipate to be a blocker, especially that early in the logic.
Yeah, definitely.
That said, Apple now starting her final escape. Despite being in Ginso, did not actually check that location of climb, so she does not have grenade jumps. So while that will be a little bit of extra time holding right at the end, I don't anticipate that being anything that's too much of a struggle here. We've got relatively easy access to everything else. Just need to bash out of this room. That's a lot of damage, unfortunately. I think she's coming over here just to regen health. You can chill out here before you trigger the kill plane. Just chill out here as long as you want. You're not going to die. That Mortar Worm's not going to shoot you. And if you have health regen, this is a valid strategy to do. Just hang out. And we're not too far off.
It looks like she has a decent amount of health regen as well. That's
Yep, at this point, it's just as much as you want to wait to be comfy and make sure you're not going to die. I think, especially with Glide, we are in a pretty good situation here. Probably just going to want to get one or two more before we'll see her heading off and finishing up.
Yeah, definitely. What an interesting seed. You often have, the relic hunt being difficult, or people needing skills, but this was one of the few. I mean, I guess it was because of the relic hunt, but this is one of the few seeds that I've seen where health was the main deciding factor. Yeah, oh no!
Oh, Apple, no! Going for, or maybe missing that kill plane skip. It looks like she went for it. It was just a little bit tight on cutting the corner. Meant she had to go off to the right there to not get swiped by the bird. Unfortunately, she hit the fire in the process. Looks like this time, though, getting through the elemental room once again. Same fashion, which means you're going to be waiting a bit more once again just to let the regen happen.
Saying hello to the Mortar Worm. Maybe the Mortar is going to drop some health. That would be nice.
Can that actually drop health? I actually was not aware of that.
I assume it can, but I don't think I've ever farmed it for health. But
I don't know. Usually I just kind of...
know.
I like to stand where she is now because it'll just shoot you forever and never hit you, and so I like to just kind of chill out there if I'm going to do this. I don't know that I've ever tried or worried about it, but now I'm really curious. Anyways, I think Apple is more than capable of doing this escape. I think we saw her get through the hard parts already. It's just a matter of cleaning up this last room here. Oh no, and she hit the fish before she could bash it. Oh.
Yeah, or is a hard game. Even if you're experienced with it, there are still a myriad of ways you can just take a random death.
Sometimes that fish really is brutal, and that's just all there is to it.
This looks like a cleaner pass through the elemental room.
Yeah,
No
taking
health
fewer
regen.
damage boosts this time.
No health regen strats necessary.
Looking for clean off the fish. We've got 3 HP going in here. Catching the wind currents, hopefully. He's right on the edge of the trigger. There we go. And she got it
that's
this
a clean
time.
Kuro skip.
All right. And all we need now are the rocks, to be kind. And that will be it.
GG.
Apple holding right to finish the seed. GG. That was a journey, for sure.
Most definitely was, yeah.
I imagine she'll be relieved that the seed is over after everything that it has put her through.
Yeah. Definitely was not kind to Team SincereStrawberry, the seed. Just gonna be holding right for a couple of minutes. Well, like half a minute at this point.
Looks like while they're holding right, we have got both of them on deck for an interview as well. So I think we can go ahead and pull them in and see how things are going as the seed starts to wrap up. So with that said, Team SincereStrawberry, GG, very well played for what you guys had anew on the seed. What is going through your mind right now?
I am so pissed at myself.
Yeah, understandable.
I don't know how I did not get wall jump tree of all things.
Yeah, you even were down there. You picked up the energy cell.
Exactly. I walked past it. I feel so stupid.
And it's so unfortunate because this is, I was saying earlier, I think the single biggest punishment I have ever seen for not getting stomped.
Exactly.
Like, it was an incredible sequence of events. And I feel for you.
Definitely. And I definitely want to compliment both of you. I think you played, given that you were down a bash, down a stomp, I think you kept it very, very close right until the end, and you played very well. GG's.
Thanks. Yeah, that last relic really sucked to get.
Yeah. Was not a kind location. There was not a lot of health available. No clean water anywhere in sight.
We do actually know where clean water is. We've been told by our excellent truckers. Would you guys like to hear now that the race is done?
Sure.
Clean water is on R4.
Oh boy.
Yeah, you were not gonna clear pickups to find clean water.
Nobody was finding that.
Nope. So I am kind of curious. I asked the other group this as well. I know that you guys did spend a fair bit of time digging through areas, even kind of in like that mid game that didn't have relics in them. So like when you made the play for Ginso or spending some time in Horror or going back further in Misty, stuff like that. So I guess at that point, was there anything in particular you were digging for, or was it mostly just, at that point, we needed help, we needed resources, let's see what we can find?
We didn't have Stomp at
I
that point,
think
so we
the-
were questioning logic.
I think we got every right side pickup we could have gotten without Stomp, except for the wall jump tree, which we thought we got. So
yeah, it's
That
like
was
so
very rough.
unfortunate that that it also stays on the logic map, right?
yeah,
So,
the trees
so
are
you
always
can't even
there.
so you can't even see that you haven't collected it. That's just super unfortunate.
Why is that? Because
Yeah, I don't know.
Game
I
dev is
might
hard.
petition
I
to
will
have
default
that
to
changed.
Yeah, I was very glad when I found the Fallen TP out of logic, and then outside Fallen, like everything else, so we could break entirety of
Yeah,
logic.
that was a loaded Forlord area. It was, you found that teleporter, and you found the Relic and Sorrow teleporter, and you found all the Valley stuff
I
as
found
well. It's just
Valley
like,
TP. I found
that
the
was
very
incredible.
yeah.
Yeah, that Sorrow TP could have been real useful if you had Stomp.
Yes.
It all comes back to that in the end.
Yeah, it all comes back to Stomp in the end. Climb would have also done the deal that was in upper right Ginso, by the way, the plant before the escape.
Oh, come.
Oh.
Yeah, I
but
went to the other
Ginzo-
side.
Yeah, you went to the left side there, yeah.
Yeah, but the Ginzo TP was like on Feather, I think, which we didn't get for a while. So it would have been hard to get.
And especially if you didn't have Bash to get up there, because, you didn't
Yes,
have Stomp.
indeed. I was there and I was like, I can't get this pickup, this sucks. And then, of course, that was the time it was something.
Oh my goodness.
All right. With that said, I believe unless you have any more questions left off, we should be good
don't.
to start wrapping things up. And this was the final race of round 2 of the Swiss, which means that after this, we will have new standings available for the third round, and we can get things kind of kicked off and underway. So announcements with all of those will be coming out right, or at least very soon after this broadcast is done.
Yeah, and we've actually drawn the matches for the third round, and we are going to be revealing them right now. Do we just wanna read matches off one by one?
I think if we want to, we can.
Sure. The first match is going to be Team Infinite Turtles versus Team Bizarre Adventurers. Both teams 2-0 up. Definitely going to be fun to be watching or playing that, in my case.
The other 2-0 match is going to be Team Storytime versus Team Scorched Stones. Obviously, both of those 2-0 teams have won both of their first matches and are looking to be favorites for large portions of the tournament. And so both of those races I anticipate are going to be very entertaining to watch.
Then among the 1-1 teams, we have Team Twice the Baguette and Team Free Leaf Emoji. That's going to be a fun match for you, Jamal.
The emoji must be free. It has been put in jail. Also, in that 1-1 bracket, we've got Team Illogical Zone versus Team Blind Wisps, and Team Dustforce Enthusiasts are winners from today's race against Team Koo's Birdbath.
Yeah, and then in the 0-2 category, some teams had to lose. There's always got to be a winner and a loser, so there are some teams comprised of incredible speedrunners that haven't picked up a win yet, and those two matches are going to be Team City Escape versus Team SincereStrawberry, the team that unfortunately got a bit trolled by a Stomp location today, and Team Ocarina of Uru facing off against the Lions, and that's going to be going to complete round 3 of the Swiss. We're going to keep your eyes peeled for when the times are agreed upon for the matches, and we'll keep you up to date which matches are going to be restreamed, when they're going to be happening, and there's going to be a lot more Ori Rando content coming in the next weeks. But yeah, I think that basically wraps us up for today. GG once again to both of our teams. GG to Team Dustforce Enthusiasts for picking up the win. Thanks a lot to our crew behind the scenes helping us make this broadcast possible. Lion Almanar on the restream, and Sarah Barron and Grease helping us with the stats behind the scenes. And of course, thank you, Jamal, for commentating with me. It has been a blast.
It's been a pleasure. So I guess that just about wraps it up. Good luck for everyone in future rounds. GG's once again, and I hope everyone has a good rest of their weekend.
Bye.